Hello and welcome to another video. Today I have this 2-in-1 rust conversion paint from Autosel. So this comes in a fairly large bucket like this. So you can see the steps in the back. You essentially clean and sand the surface. I used a stiff brush and peeled out all the loose paint. You can see all of these paint flakes on the floor here. I got it off. And I don't have sandpaper, but I do have this metal Brillo pad kind of thing. So I'm going to just scrub off as much of the rust as I can, which is the prep is probably the most important part of the whole process. So if you can't take the time to get sandpaper or a stiff metal brush, that'd be better off. But where I am right now, it's getting colder and colder day by day, and soon enough it's going to start snowing, so I need to get it done before the snow pops in. So I'm just going to clean up the area as much as I can, get that loose bits of rust and metal off and loose bits of paint off to expose the bare metal underneath. I'm going to do more of this off the camera, but let's show you the next steps. We're going to apply the rust inhibitor. It comes with gloves to apply it as well as a applicator brush. Let it dry for 24 hours and then you're going to apply a second coating afterwards. So you can see all these different surfaces you can use it on, vehicle underneath, if you have metal tools and stuff like that that are rusting, knobs, anything really, any railing or anything, you can use it on interior or exterior. So let's go ahead and put it on, and I'll do a second coat tomorrow, and I'll show you that process as well. It's very windy out today, so I apologize for any noise, wind noise you hear. So I'm gonna cover this bottom carpeted part on with this cloth so that I don't get paint on the rug underneath. But as you can see, as I'm rubbing with this Brillo pad, I'm getting more and more of that rust off. And the more you do that, the better. Take your time, get it as clean as possible. Get as much as the rusting paint you can off. If you have a rotary tool with a metal brush on it, that'd do really well to get it nice and shiny again before you paint it. I'm working with just a Brillo pad here, and you can see it's doing an excellent job of getting some of this rust off. Alright, they provide these nice pair of black gloves. I'm gonna put those on. Just gonna shake it up. Stir it up. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and peel this open. Super easy to open here. That's nice. There you go. This is what the paint looks like. I'm going to take a generous amount on the brush here and start to painting. Make sure that you're not just lightly touching the area, you're actually pressing the paint onto the surface so that the chemicals in the paint can react to that oxidized iron and do its thing. If you have still some paint that you weren't able to get off, you want to try to squeeze those paintbrush fibers underneath that paint. Okay, so that's how easy it was for that first coat. I'm going to come back in 24 hours and do the second coat. In the meantime, I'm going to wash off this brush so that it's ready for next use. You can also just use a different brush, but I like to save these things rather than wasting them for every use. And just squeeze it shut and it closes completely, nice and sealed off. It should be good for next use as well. Alright, so it's been a day and this is what it looks like. So it looks pretty good. You can see there's some dust and stuff. Obviously this is outdoors, it's windy. So you can kind of wipe off or dust off any dust you see on there. Just kind of rub your hand on it. Maybe if you have a cloth, rub that on there. Get any debris off of it. And then we're going to do a second coat. I already shook up the container here, so let's go and open it up and get some paint and put a second coat on. So you want to be generous with the amount of paint you use, of course, because you're trying to make a nice seal from the elements. So where I see the transition point of the old paint and the new paint, I'm kind of like lathering on more there, and I was gonna paint the rest on. Okay, so that's it. I'm done with the second coat, and I think I have a good enough seal on the exposed parts of the metal. So I'm just gonna let it dry, then take off my cloth and stuff, and then the table should be good. Okay, it's been a couple days since the last coat, and you can see how it's a matte finish, not a glossy finish. And you can see how this is the original paint, and you can barely tell the difference between the original paint and the new paint. And I'm sure as the micro dust settles, this is all going to look the same. Of course, this is primer, so if you wanted to put another layer of paint on top, you can. This is just supposed to be the base primer, but if it matches your other paint perfectly like it does with mine, you can kind of essentially use it as main paint as well. So I'm really impressed with how well it's worked so far. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.